like every question that I ever had to life, and every question that I ever had about Christianity was answered in Islam. And I even remember specifically in the Bible, like I said, I was very in the church. I remember specifically reading 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse number 11, where Paul is addressing the church. And Paul tells the church, if you're a believing woman of faith, if you're a woman who prays, if you're a woman who prophesies, that you should have your head covered. And if you do not cover yourself, you shame yourself. And basically the text, the verse says, if you're a woman and you don't cover your head, shave your head. But it's a shame for a woman to have her head shaved, so cover yourself. And I asked my pastor this. I was maybe about 12, 13 years old. And I remember asking my pastor about this text, and he basically said that that text didn't apply to us because that was the old law. So I was like, okay, it's the old law, but it's in the New Testament. What's up with that? And he really couldn't give me an answer. To be honest, he basically just said that doesn't apply to us, and I was just really bothered that, you know, why is it that we're picking and choosing what we want to implement in our lives? And that bothered me because I was very sincere in my beliefs, and I felt that, you know, like Layla was saying, you know, if it's about a lifestyle. You should have to. You should give things up for the sake of God. You should like heaven. I don't feel like, you know, is free. Like everyone has to work for it. So that was just in my fitra, like in my natural inclinations of and my natural beliefs in God that's ingrained in every single one in this room. So anyway, that was kind of a tangent, but I started reading, and I just remember specifically the verse that hit me when I said, this is it, you know, this is the religion I've been looking for. It was in the 5th chapter, Ma'idah, I believe. And I remember in this verse of the Quran where Isa, alayhi salam, which is Jesus in Arabic, his name is Isa, peace be upon him, he's having a conversation with God, with Allah, and he says, and Allah asks him, "O Isa, did you ever tell your people to pray to you? Did you ever tell the people to take you and your mother as idols?" And Jesus says, peace be upon him, "No, I never said such a thing. You are the all-knowing, all-seeing. If I would have said such a thing, my people would have surely known it." And when I read that text, it was 2 in the morning. I was up reading, and I read that verse 3 or 4 times, and I just remember thinking, like, this is it. Like, this is everything I've been looking for. This makes sense. Like, God, prophets, like, that's it. Like, let's not complicate it with eggs and apples. Like, this is what it is. And that was it. That was it for me. It was just reading the text, and then, of course, with further study and looking into things that I was kind of iffy about, that I decided that that was the religion for me, and I wanted to convert, and I did.
Okay, so we're kind of running out of time. So hopefully we can answer each one of these questions in 5 minutes, because we still have about 20 minutes for the Q&A. So, like I said, just jump in, whoever wants to answer it. What was your initial understanding of Islam?
Hello again. Hello again. How are you all? I'm not being short with you. I just understand that we only have 2 hours, and there's no possible way this is going to happen. So when my time comes up, I'm just going to shut up. In any case, I imagine most of us up here, but I'm definitely going to speak for myself, I have no understanding of Islam, and that's embarrassing. Growing up in a country of freedom where I should have any text and any knowledge available to me, I joined the United States Army and went to Guantanamo at the age of 19 and did not know anything about Islam. So yeah, go public education.
So I did have an understanding because I grew up part-time Muslim. But my understanding was that God was very, very mean and very angry, and wasn't compassionate, wasn't merciful. The Christian God to me was loving, caring, compassionate, accepts you the way you are, you do whatever you want, you say sorry, it's good. And I would read the Quran and I would cry when I would start kind of just picking it up, because I would read these verses that say, like, you go to hell and your hair burns and you drink scalding water, things like that. So to me, one day I went to a speech and they said, God made your mother. A mother cares about you. A mother, you could do almost anything most of the time and she'll still love you. True mothers, because they're compassionate, they're loving, they're caring, they're this. Who created the mother? Who created the mother's characteristics? Who created the mother's... Who created it? God. So if God could create a character like that, a person like that, can create these emotions, these feelings, this love, clearly He is like that. So when I sat there, I literally just started crying, but not because I was scared, but because I was like, damn, this is some sick stuff. Because it's true, I lived this whole time why I didn't want to be an outward Muslim, why I didn't want to do this, because I didn't want to feel bad about every single thing that I do in my life. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of God, the most merciful, most compassionate. Every single time you read the surah, except I think one surah. Does it say that? Every time before. Come on, dude, pay attention. Say Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. Peace means not fear. You want peace. Why do refugees leave? Because they're in fear. There's no peace in where they're living. So when I started just focusing on the words in English, because I fully understand that, I started waking up. So that's my initial thing, is I just changed from being fearful to really finally letting myself fully understand and think about the words that are in the Quran that are being said to me. The initial words right when you read. So that's that.
I didn't really have any idea of what Islam was. I had no understanding. I'm born and raised here, born in Fountain Valley, grew up here my whole life. I had Muslim friends that I didn't know were Muslim until Ramadan came around. And I didn't know anything. I knew nothing. When my friends, during our little religious talks, when they said they believed in Jesus, and I was like, what? You believe in Jesus? And they were like, yeah, of course. Like, what? Like, hello, like, look at my mom. Like, don't you see? Like, she dresses like the Virgin Mary. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And I was like, they're cool with Jesus. Like, okay, like, I love Jesus, okay? So, don't play. So I was just like, okay, let me look into this. And I wasn't as scared. I wasn't as freaked out because, and even when it came to reading the Quran, and I kind of forgot to mention this, as I was going and I read it cover to cover, and I converted maybe like after, what was it, Miriam, 2 weeks? Like after 2 weeks, sorry, I put my friend on the spot, I apologize. Maybe about like 2 weeks into into Ramadan, I converted. But as I was reading the Quran, I saw all of these familiar names that, these prophets that I loved and that I, knew growing up, and, from Adam, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of these prophets, Jesus, peace be upon them all, and I felt more comfortable with it, and I decided to keep on looking into it. But before I became Muslim, I really had no knowledge, and it was basically just people bashing Islam, and my curiosity that just kind of led me to research it and to go to the text and not Wikipedia information on the prophets, and Islam. Because anybody can go on there, and we all know facts are on the internet, right? Like, come on. So I just decided to go to the text and read it for myself. What does this religion say? I don't care what Bill O'Reilly has to say. I don't care what any of these people in the media have to say about Islam, because they're not Muslims. So let me go to the source. Obviously, I couldn't read Arabic, so the best closest thing would be the English translation. So that's what I did. And I know nothing.
Okay, so my understanding of Islam was purely based on ignorance and media. And I never knew any Muslims growing up. I, too, was born and raised in Orange County, totally sheltered life, didn't know anything outside the church, like my parents were super strict. So I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything about Islam. I knew nothing about Muslims. I thought that all Muslims were brown, that they all blew people up, that they all beat their wives and hated everyone who was American, and that basically all Muslims were bad, evil people. I had no clue. I mean, really, people have no clue. It's so sad what our media is doing, what our media is telling everybody these days, because it's creating this false hatred against people that really are so minute. There's so few extremists in comparison to how many of us are actually true and real. And, unfortunately, everyone wants to focus on the bad because it's more entertaining, and the good doesn't get enough publicity. So it's really easy to get your opinion of Islam from TV and the news and all that good stuff. So yeah, I didn't know anything. There you go.
Real quick, guys, if we can hold our applause to the end, that would be good, because we're kind of in We'll get like a really nice one in the end, trust me.
Well, I was born and raised in Japan, and there are not that many Muslims in that country, so I had no idea. Maybe I knew that Muslims don't eat pork. That was about it, I think.
I knew that.
Okay, third question. Have you faced anything in the religion that you found particularly fascinating? What about something that you found difficult to come to terms with? She's always the gutsy one.
I mean, we might as well go. So what I found fascinating, 5 pillars. Okay, so can we, zakat. So giving to the poor, orphans, needy people, poor, praying, taking shahadas, number 1, saying the oath of faith, I believe in God. One God, and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the final and last prophet. You could say, I believe in all the prophets, and he's the final one. It all works out. Okay, so praying, taking the oath of faith, going to Hajj, the pilgrimage. Poor people, what was that one? Fasting. Okay, fasting. So to me, this is what I find fascinating, is each one, these are the 5 fundamental bases of what you should do. So quickly, why I think praying is really great. You're taking millions of people, putting them to face at the same time, the same direction, something. Unity. Unity. I like being unified. I like being with people. I like how you're not alone. Okay, so that one. Same with Hajj, unity. Everybody wears white. You are no better than the poor person on the street or the king in Saudi Arabia. You aren't. You aren't. At the end of the day, we are all one. What I learned, side note, our genetic makeup is 99.9% the same. I don't care, you're black, white, Asian. I don't care. God doesn't care. Are you a good person? You're going to come and you're going to wear white. You're not going to wear jewelry. You're not going to wear perfume to show that you're better than me. You're all together praying one place at one time. 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay?